Hi guys, welcome back. It's Jamie here, Football Heaven 24/7. I'm normally rocking my Forest stuff usually, but on my other team, Scunthorpe United, I've had a really bad season, worst in their history. They're down to the Conference North. So whoever you support out there, just remember there's always someone that supports a team that's a lot worse, and in this case, it's Scunthorpe. So I thought I'd start with that for anyone whose team lost at the weekend, just to show them that life goes on, and that also things can always be worse. Do you know what I mean? So I'm going to go straight into the weekend's action. And we're going to look, obviously, starting the Premier League as we normally do. Manchester City are still top. They won 2-1 away at Fulham on Sunday, just got yesterday. Goals from Haaland and a goal also from Alvarez. He had scored an absolute screamer. He had to come on because Kevin De Bruyne wasn't in the squad because he was ill. For how long we don't know. He was interviewed at the start of the game by a reporter, and he couldn't tell them whether it'd be 2-3 weeks or more than that. So it sounds like it's reasonably serious. So Kevin De Bruyne could be out for most of Manchester City's running towards the title. But the most crucial thing is Man City leapfrogged Arsenal for the first time since February the 17th. They're now 1 point ahead of them, and they also have a game in hand over them, so they could stretch to 4 points clear of Arsenal. This all because Arsenal relinquished an 9 point lead by drawing three of the last four games. So yeah, very bad running for Arsenal, and obviously they lost to Man City 4-1 last week, so that cost them big time. So yeah, Man City are top, Arsenal are in second, but the other results from the Premier League at the weekend. Brighton, they got back after losing in the semi-final, the FA Cup semi-final to Manchester United on penalties after a 0-0 draw. They played 120 minutes, then they got smashed against Forest when they were 1-0 up, 3-1. Later on the Wednesday just gone. But they got back to winning ways. They got themselves back on form, and they've still got games in hand over the teams above them. They absolutely smashed Wolverhampton Wanderers 6-0. Two goals from Undav, two goals from Pascal Gross, and two goals from Danny Welbeck. Gave them a convincing 6-0 win against Wolves. Wolves are pretty much safe. They're still 8 points clear of the relegation zone, so I would say that the Wolves are pretty much safe now. But yeah, it was absolute hammering. Brighton moved up a little bit in well, they stayed in eighth, but that was mainly because of results for Liverpool. Liverpool won 4-3 at home to Tottenham. They were 3-0 up within 15 minutes. Goals from Jones, Diaz, and Mohamed Salah put them 3-0 up. But again, goals from Kane, Son, and Richarlison got Tottenham back in the lead. Now Tottenham were back level to 3-3. Tottenham equalised in the 93rd minute of injury time, but 20 seconds later, Jota went up the other end and scored the winner for Liverpool in the last minute of injury time at the end of the game. So a great game. I watched the game. It was absolutely fantastic to watch. It looked like Liverpool after 15 minutes were going to absolutely annihilate Spurs. I thought it'd be like something like 6-7-0 after that, but fair play to Spurs. They came back, but ultimately they lost. So great game there. Other games, Bournemouth absolutely smashed Leeds United 4-1. Two goals from Lerma, one from Solanke and one from Semenyo. Bamford got a goal back, but to no avail. Leeds have now let in something crazy like nearly 20 goals in the last four games. Absolutely insane. That is relegation form for Leeds. As a Forest fan, I'm hoping that Leeds and Everton continue to do badly and let loads of goals in, because that's pretty much Forest's only hope of staying up. I think so. Looking at other games, Forest, my team, were 1-0 up thanks to a second goal in 4 days from Danilo, the Brazilian midfielder. He's a young lad doing fantastic for Forest in the last few games. But Forest couldn't hold on. They were actually had a player injured, and they'd used up all their subs for the last 10 minutes of the game. And that allowed Brentford to come back into the game. Ivan Toney scored on the 82nd minute, and Josh Da Silva scored a winner for Brentford in the 94th minute of injury time. So absolutely gutted there, because I thought if Forest had won that, that would have given him the definite confidence to stay up. As it is, if Leicester or Everton draw tonight or win in their game and they're playing each other tonight, Forest will slip back down into the relegation zone, albeit only 1 point behind whoever goes above them in the league. So, excuse me. or maybe 2 points if it's Leicester. So looking at it now, so I think Leicester's playing Everton tonight. I think Leicester will win 3-1. I don't like to say it because they're a rival of Forest, but I think they will win 3-1, and that will put Leicester outside the relegation zone and into 16th if they do win, into 16th even with 32 points. But yeah, it's hotting up at the bottom end of the table. Top end, Newcastle continued their good form. Came from 1-0 behind against Southampton to win 3-1. 2 goals from Alan Wilson, who's on fire at the moment, and an own goal by Walcott. Other games, an absolute cracker of a game in the 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. Crystal Palace beat West Ham 4-3. Goals from Ayew, Zaha, Schlupp, and Eze, and goals from Soucek, Antonio, and a guard for West Ham. So an absolute thrilling game in that. There was a penalty given to Crystal Palace to put them 3-1 up, which wasn't really a penalty, but there you go. That's VAR for you. A load of nonsense. Scrap VAR in my opinion. Anyway, we'll jump on to another game. Man United beat Aston Villa 1-0, and that keeps Man United in the top 4. Although Liverpool are hunting them down, but I don't think they're going to catch them because Liverpool are still 7 points behind Manchester United in 5th, even after that win against Spurs. But Manchester United have a game in hand over them, so that could effectively put Manchester United 10 points clear of Liverpool. So if they win that game in hand, which I believe is away at Brighton on Thursday this week. So anyway, that was the results in the Premier League. How it makes the table look, I said it earlier, the top 2 anyway. Man City are top now with 76 points. Arsenal are in 2nd with 75. Newcastle in 3rd with 65. And Manchester United in 4th with 63. Most of those teams have either got 6 games or 5 games to play till the end of the season. In the relegation zone currently, it's Leicester, Everton, and Southampton. But Leicester or Everton will go outside of the relegation zone tonight, depending on what the result is in the game. So, anyway, we'll jump on to Championship. Championship, it was the second to last round of fixtures. Blackpool got relegated on Friday night, just gone. They lost 3-2 at home to Millwall. That sealed their fate. They got relegated along with Wigan Athletic, who, despite getting a draw at Reading, it wasn't enough to keep them in the Championship. So both Blackpool and Wigan will be playing League One football next season. Bristol City lost 2-1 at home to Burnley. Burnley are champions. Well, they were champions last week, but that just cemented it even more. Coventry City won 2-0 against Birmingham. That's kept them in the playoffs, but theoretically, if they lose at Middlesbrough this weekend coming up, they might not even remain in the playoffs. Hull drew 1-0 with Swansea City. That was didn't really matter for either team because they're both sort of mid-table teams in the Championship. Like I say, Reading drew 1-0 with Wigan. That didn't do Reading any favours. Sheffield United smashed Preston 4-1, even though they were already promoted to the Premier League. QPR have another season in the Championship thanks to winning 1-0 away at Stoke City. They don't have to worry about being relegated now. Sunderland came from 2-0 behind to Watford to draw 2-2. Watford, no chance of making the playoffs. Sunderland, there's a chance if they can get a result at Preston on the last day of the season. So we'll see what happens there. West Brom put it in their hands a little bit as well by beating Norwich 2-1. Norwich obviously can't get into the playoffs now, but Sunderland and West Brom have got a chance, and so have Blackburn, but an outside chance really. Cardiff, they're pretty much safe now. Yeah, they are pretty much safe now. Sorry, they are safe. What am I on about? Pretty much they're safe because they won at Rotherham last week, which put them into the safe zone. Even though they lost 2-1 at home to their former manager and the former manager's team, Huddersfield 2-1. So that kind of puts Huddersfield pretty much safe now because the goal difference, they're 2 higher than Reading, and Huddersfield have got to play Reading on the last day of the season, but also Huddersfield are playing Sheffield United on Thursday night. So in theory, even if I would say, obviously, if Huddersfield get a draw with Sheffield United on Thursday night even, that will make Huddersfield safe. As for Rotherham, they're still in danger. They play today against Middlesbrough. I'm predicting Middlesbrough to win 3-1, even though Middlesbrough are already comfortably in the playoffs. And if that's the case, that means that Rotherham are still in the mix, but only if Reading can get a result against Huddersfield, and also if Rotherham lose again on their last day of the season. So that's the predictions. Anyway, looking at I've done all the results for the Championship, but looking at the table, Burnley are top. with 98 points. Obviously, they're up into the Prem as champions. Sheffield United are obviously up into the Prem as well with 88 points in second. In the playoffs, you've got Luton, who are playing today against Blackburn. Middlesbrough are playing today away at Rotherham. Luton at Blackburn, I'm going to go for Luton to win that game 2-1. Coventry City are in the playoffs and Millwall are in the playoffs as well. So just outside the playoffs, and three teams that could potentially still get into the playoffs, provided on different results, is Sunderland, West Brom and Blackburn. So they're all fighting with a slim chance of having an opportunity to get in the playoffs for obviously promotion to the Premier League. So in fact, it's the most lucrative final to play in the Championship playoff final, because you get something stupid like 120 million if you get promoted via it, so which is insane. Anyway, going to jump into League One. League One, at the start of the day, Plymouth and Ipswich were in the top two places, and that's how it remained. Ipswich secured promotion back to the Championship for the first time in 4 years. Absolutely annihilated Exeter 6-0. Two goals from Connor Chaplin, Luongo, Hurst, Broadhead penalty, and Burns gave them a fantastic 6-0 win. Their last home game of the season in front of a crowd of 29,334. So that means that Ipswich go up. Whether they go up as champions, we don't know yet. Plymouth Plymouth won 1-0 against Burton, and that means Plymouth go into the Championship as well, and that means that basically, that means that basically those two will be playing Championship football. Sheffield Wednesday, Barnsley, Bolton and Derby are still in the playoffs. Accrington Stanley lost 2-1 at home to Cambridge. Bolton won 2-0 against Fleetwood. Charlton won 3-2 against Port Vale. Derby drew 1-0 with Portsmouth. Forest Green lost 3-0 against Oxford United. MK Dons drew 4-4 with Barnsley. Morecambe keep up their fight to get out of the relegation zone, beating Lincoln City having been 2-0 down in that game, winning 3-2. Peterborough drew 0-0 with Bristol Rovers. Plymouth, as I say, won 1-0 against Burton. Shrewsbury lost 3-0 at home to Sheffield Wednesday, a hat-trick from Smith. And Wycombe lost 3-0 at home to Cheltenham. So looking at the table, Plymouth and Ipswich are up into the Championship. Sheffield Wednesday will stay in the playoffs along with Barnsley, Bolton and Derby. There's potentially Peterborough could overtake Derby on the last day of the season, depending if Derby lose and Peterborough win on the last day of the season. So that's how it's looking there. Down in the relegation zone in League One, you've got Morecambe, Cambridge United, Accrington Stanley and Forest Green Rovers. Forest Green Rovers are definitely down and relegated. They were for weeks ago. But Accrington Stanley, Cambridge, Morecambe could still potentially stay up depending on results. If MK Dons loses this weekend coming up. So that's what's going on in League One. Congratulations to Plymouth and Ipswich getting promoted. Into League Two, you're looking at AFC Wimbledon, at the top. Obviously, Leyton Orient are top as champions. Stevenage promoted in second. Northampton in third. And in the playoffs, you've got Stockport, Carlisle, Salford City and Bradford City. So basically, looking at that, in the relegation zone, Hartlepool and Rochdale got relegated from League Two, and looking at the games, Leyton Orient are already up, and they lost 3-0 at home to Stockport County. Stockport County looking to get automatic promotion. It's only going to be possible for Stockport County if they win on the last day of the season and Northampton lose. That's the only way that Stockport are going to overtake Northampton into third place to get promoted. Last season, Northampton missed out because Bristol Rovers absolutely smashed my other team, Scunthorpe 7-0, and that meant that Northampton looked like they were comfortable to go up last season in that final automatic promotion place, but they got done over. So maybe this season it looks like Northampton finally get a bit of luck and get automatically promoted into League One. Stevenage were promoted because of their winning result at the weekend, winning 2-0 against Grimsby. That promoted them into League One. So both Leyton Orient and Stevenage, congratulations to them. They'll definitely be playing in League One next season. And it remains to be seen whether it's Northampton or Stockport County who go up with them automatically. In the playoffs in League Two, you've got Stockport, Carlisle, Salford City and Bradford City. Looking at the results, I'll just run through them in League Two. Wimbledon drew 1-1 with Tranmere. Carlisle lost 3-2 at home to Salford. Crawley drew 0-0 with Walsall. Crewe won 2-1 against Swindon. Doncaster won 1-0 against Colchester. My mate Graham went to that game. Gillingham lost 2-1 at home to Newport. Hartlepool beat Barrow 3-1. Mansfield lost 2-1 to Harrogate Town. Northampton lost 2-1 at home to Bradford City. Rochdale, even though they're relegated, won 4-1 in their final home game in League Two. They're getting relegated to the conference. Beat Sutton United 4-1. And as I said earlier, Stevenage beat Grimsby 2-0. I think I already mentioned, obviously, Leyton Orient lost 3-0 at home, but it doesn't really matter because they're already promoted. That was in front of a sellout crowd. Leyton Orient obviously hoisted up the League Two title at the weekend at home, their final home game. But anyway, that's what's happened. That's the weekend's review of all the teams. Chuba Akpom's still top goal scorer in the Championship. Andy Cook's still top goal scorer in League Two, and in League One, it's still Johnson Clark-Harris's top goal scorer. And obviously in the Premier League, as most people know, Alf-Inge Haaland's the top goal scorer. And at the weekend, he went equal with Alan Shearer and Andy Cole in scoring the most goals in Premier League history. Whenever his next goal comes around, probably in the next game that Man City play, then that will basically mean that Haaland is the all-time, in one season, is the all-time Premier League top goal scorer. So in one season, that is obviously not Alan Shearer's still scored the most goals in Premier League history. And obviously Harry Kane's trying to catch up to him at the moment. So anyway, this is quite a long episode, but not really bothered. Either you watch it or you don't. Who cares? But anyway, I'm going to run through the fixtures. For this week ahead. Right, we'll just run through. I've already done my predictions for today's games, but we're looking to tomorrow on Tuesday even. Arsenal's playing Chelsea. I'm going to go for Arsenal to beat Chelsea 2-1, but I think it's still too late for them in the competition. That'll put Arsenal just above Man City again, but they'll be obviously 2 games ahead of them then. So anyway, so I'm going to go Arsenal 2-1. Another game that's been played on that evening is Shrewsbury against Bristol Rovers. Going to say Bristol Rovers to win that one 2-1. Wednesday night, 2 more Premier League games. Liverpool's playing Fulham. Man City's playing West Ham. I'm going to go for Liverpool to beat Fulham 3-1. And I'm going to go for Manchester City to beat West Ham. And I'm going to say 3-1 in that one as well. And that's it. I think that's it for the... Oh, and I'll do another midweek game, which is Thursday night. You've got Brighton against Manchester United. And I'm going to go for Brighton to actually get revenge on Man United. I'm going to go Brighton to win that one 2-1. Huddersfield are also playing Sheffield United in the Championship on Thursday night. I'm going to say that Huddersfield will draw that game 2-2. So that's my predictions for the midweek games. I'm going to do another episode predicting the weekend's games coming up. Obviously, it's the last weekend for League One, Championship and League Two fixtures. Over the course of Sunday and Monday. There's a bank holiday Monday again because obviously it's the coronation for King Charles. Anyway, have a good weekend, whoever you support. I hope you had a good weekend, and just have a great time, and I'll catch you again for another episode. Bye for now.